Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here with us right now, because today we are unpacking some truly profound, honestly life-altering material. We're looking at a deeply philosophical perspective on self-belief, trust, and those sort of invisible forces that shape our entire reality. Okay, let's dive into this, because trust me, this isn't just another generic motivational pep talk. This is about completely rewiring how you view your own existence.
So take just a second right now and really think about this. What is the absolute greatest burden you carry in your day-to-day life? Is it your finances, your health, maybe? Or maybe it's an uncertain future or complicated relationships. Look, it's completely natural to point to those external things. But our source material today makes a pretty bold argument that the actual answer is much closer to home. And honestly, it's a little surprising.
According to the text, the real tragedy, the ultimate burden we carry, isn't poverty or illness. It's actually a lack of self-trust. Think about a toddler for a second. When a baby is born, they don't doubt themselves, right? They cry when they're hungry, fully trusting they're going to be fed. But as we grow up, society, education, sometimes even our own families, slowly start dripping this doubt into our minds. We're told we aren't quite enough, that we need to fit a specific mold. And over time, that pure, instinctual trust in ourselves, it just slowly drains away.
Which brings us to our first major theme. True defeat is within. The external world only reflects what's happening inside us, meaning external defeat is really just an illusion. True defeat happens within, the moment one begins to doubt their own voice. That is just so powerful. You see, defeat doesn't actually happen when you fall down or fail at something. It happens in that exact split-second moment where you decide to suppress your own inner truth just to go along with the crowd's opinion. The moment you look at your own intuition and say, well, the world must be right and I must be wrong, that is literally the only time you truly lose.
And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between what we think confidence is and what true internal trust actually looks like. Notice how the ego is loud, it's arrogant, and it constantly needs to compare itself to others just to feel superior. But on the flip side, trust doesn't need to shout. It deepens in total silence. A person who genuinely trusts themselves isn't frantically looking around to see if they're better or worse than anybody else. They just are.
Moving on to our next section, the universe is a mirror. This explores a really fascinating cosmic rule.
The idea here is that the universe isn't a judge, and it's certainly not a magical wish-granting factory that listens to our spoken words. As the quote says, the universe is a mirror. It shows what you are, not what you want to show. You could stand in front of a mirror and chant positive affirmations all day long. But if your heart is trembling with fear, if deep down you truly believe you're unworthy, the universe is just going to reflect that exact fear right back at you. It doesn't hear your words. It strictly mirrors your internal state.
So how do we fix that internal state? Well, first, we've got to redefine trust. Trust isn't some magical shield that just makes fear, poof, disappear. Fear is not the enemy here. The enemy is stopping. Paralysis is the enemy. True self-trust is having the courage to take fear by the hand and walk right alongside it. It's just like that toddler learning to walk. They fall, it hurts, they're probably scared, but they don't stop. They trust their right to exist and keep moving forward.
Let's look at a really powerful metaphor for this kind of patience and invisible growth in our next section, the story of the seed and the bamboo.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the timeline of the Chinese bamboo tree. You plant the seed, and in year 1, absolutely nothing happens. Years 2 and 3 roll around, the soil is completely flat, and people start laughing at you for basically watering a patch of dirt. By year 4, even you start doubting the whole thing. But then in year 5, the bamboo suddenly shoots up dozens of feet into the air in a matter of weeks. Fun fact from the text, some bamboo species can grow up to 35 inches in a single day once they breach the surface. So was it doing nothing for 4 years? No way! It was building a massive, invisible root system underground so it wouldn't just topple over when it finally grew.
And you know, this is exactly what's happening to you when you feel like you're failing or just stuck. Your roots are within. Don't let yourself get discouraged if you don't see immediate, visible success in your career or your relationships. If you're trusting yourself and putting in the work, your roots are quietly deepening. You are literally preparing for your year 5.
Which perfectly sets up our fourth section, the meeting of the river and the ocean. Here, we shift from the effort of growing to the art of surrendering.
The river's journey starts out tiny, right? Just a mere trickle high up in the mountains. And as it travels, it faces massive boulders, deep drops, completely rugged terrain.
But the river doesn't stop and compare its tiny size to the vast, infinite ocean it's trying to reach. It doesn't get paralyzed by the sheer distance. It just trusts the flow. It surrenders to its own nature to keep moving forward unconditionally until finally it naturally merges with the ocean.
The text puts it beautifully. Trust like the river, that you just have to flow and the destination will embrace you itself. Think about that. Our job in life isn't to force the final outcome. We don't have to carry the entire weight of the destination on our shoulders every single day. Our only job is to simply keep moving, learn from the rocks we hit, and let the current of life carry us exactly where we're meant to be.
This brings us to our final and probably most actionable section, meditation and true prayer. Let's slow things down just a bit here. We've talked a lot about philosophy, but how do we practically find this quiet trust? Well, it forms an interconnected cycle. Trust acts as the foundation. When you truly trust yourself, that blossoms into a deep, authentic self-love. And when you love and accept yourself as you are, it creates an absolutely unshakable inner peace. This peace isn't about making the external world quiet, it's the total absence of internal fear. And this entire cycle, it's ignited by one simple practice.
That practice is meditation. But let's be super clear on how the text defines this. Meditation here isn't some complex religious ritual. You don't need to go to a specific building or chant a special mantra. It is simply the act of observing yourself, observing your breath, entirely without judgment. It's about letting go of your mind's constant anxiety about tomorrow or its regrets about yesterday and just resting right here in the present moment.
So the crucial point is this: true prayer, or true meditation, isn't about begging the universe for something you don't have. It's not asking to be fixed because, honestly, you aren't broken. It's sitting in the quiet and realizing, my existence is enough. Just like a flower doesn't pray to become a different kind of flower, you don't need to be anything other than exactly who you are in this very second. I really want to leave you with this final provocative mantra from the text to carry with you today. I am love, I am light. Remember, when you give love, that mirror of the universe reflects love right back. When you act from a place of light, your whole world illuminates. So the next time you feel the weight of the world pressing down on you, ask yourself, are you trusting the loud noise of the crowd, or are you finally ready to trust the quiet light of your own existence? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep trusting, keep flowing, and I will see you next time.